It's because you do the things, right?
Right. Exactly.
It's like we talked about on the study this morning. It's like there's victory in just sheer obedience.
There
You know,
is.
Alan, what's up, bro? You're on mute. There we go.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What
Great. How
up?
are
What
you
up?
doing?
Doing good, man. Taking lunch Friday. So
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. It's Friday. You doing anything fun this weekend?
we might go to the beach on Sunday. Try to
Nice.
get in another beach day,
Yep.
before it
That's
gets
awesome.
too
Where are
rainy
you
or
at?
cold. I'm in Jacksonville.
Oh,
What
okay.
beach?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
beach do you go to? I lived on Jack's Beach for a long time.
Oh, did you? We normally go to St. Augustine.
Oh, St. Augustine.
'Cause
Okay.
yeah, because it's a drive on. And Jack's Beach just kind of gets too crowded.
Yep.
And I mean, we go to Hannah Park sometimes too, but it's kind of it's hit or miss depending on what the day is. Like we know Labor Day will probably be super busy and Sunday will be busy. So
Yep. Yep.
at least with the drive, at least with like the drive on, we can it's a lot of beach in St. Augustine, so you just drive right on. So
Man,
And
that's
there's like
awesome.
once you go to the beach by driving out onto the beach,
yeah,
you'll change your life. You're not I'm
You
not
never want
lugging
to
a
not
bunch
do
of
that.
junk down there.
yeah. You once you're lugging everything with three kids and it's not fun when
Not
it's full
fun.
and yeah.
A
So
half mile
once you
over there lugging all this garbage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah exactly.
no doubt.
No doubt. Nice.
What y'all got planned?
It's college football weekend, baby. Come watch
Yeah,
some Ohio
true.
State.
Yep, yep. I'll be interested to see what Michigan looks like with the new quarterback and
New coach.
new coach. Well,
It's
not
so
new
funny
coach.
because like you're a Michigan fan, he's an Ohio State fan, and I'm actually a Notre Dame fan because I'm
Oh,
originally from Indiana.
fantastic.
So like
All the
it's
Big
funny
Ten
because
must take
like
over the
yeah,
world.
exactly. So I mean,
Yeah,
I try to watch it as much as I can with the little bit of time I have. So
Yeah, it's hard.
exactly. Well, we
You know what's
record it. I've got YouTube TV. We record it so you can do a 4 hour game in 2 hours, right? So zip through
oh
all it.
shoot,
Just
yeah,
wait an hour and turn off all the notifications so nobody tells you what's going on.
that's what I need to do. That's
no, it's a
Don't
good
tell me.
idea.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Greg,
I
do not email me.
I did that last year when when I was coaching some soccer games. I took that page out of your book. But you know what the funny thing is, Bill, is like um and Alan, this is funny. You can be on the convo for this too. It's funny because for years I thought like Jade hated football, and it was such a like a hostile thing. Like when I'd want to
yeah,
watch football, and and now the way that my life is now with my wife, she's really like looking forward to it and wants to
that's
watch
awesome.
games that aren't even Michigan. Like last night, I was like, hey, I kind of wanted to get home so I can kind of watch Colorado, and she's like, ooh, that's
Yeah,
cool. Like let's go home. Like
that's awesome, man.
so. Yeah, it's so this season
It's all
like
about
last
those
season.
shared interests, man. I like that.
Totally. Totally. And last year was like the first year that she was really involved and we won the Natty. So I'm like, I'm playing with house money now. And now it's like, my son's into it and it's just
That's
it's a
awesome.
fun thing. And I think honestly, that's just a testament and a power to like, when you I don't know, it's gonna sound hokey, man, but like when you seek the kingdom first, like all these other things in your life, they
Yeah,
start lining up and you start thinking like, dang, why didn't I do that earlier? Like this is a lot easier to live like this?
yeah. I mean, it's like like a triangle effect. Closer to God, the closer you go to your spouse.
That's
That's
it.
facts. Yeah.
100%.
This is an illustration somebody gave me a long time ago. He said, if you're focused towards going towards Jesus and his kingdom, then the longer you get married, the more you become like
Mhm.
him, right? But if you're not, you're off a degree. It's like taking two tractors and tying them together, and the tractors
Yeah,
eventually start pulling and they eventually dig in completely opposite of each other. 1 degree.
man, that's really cool.
May take 5 years, but 1 degree. Hey, Casey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you guys?
I am fantastic. We got the
Good.
winner chicken dinners here today. You guys are rocking it. You're the top two guys on the metric. Whoop whoop.
Oh,
That's it.
that's awesome.
That's it.
Hey, man, just not knocking it out every day, and it's just become it's become a part of my life now. So
That's awesome.
I love it. I
That's
love
the
it.
goal. That's the
How's it?
goal.
How's it? What's changing as you're getting these wins?
Um, so like I feel like when I'm like in the Word, my patience and my ability to take on the challenges that I'm dealing with right now have changed. I don't really have so much mental stress as I
Mhm.
do. because I'm kind of handing it over to God.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, being in the Word, it's like it's almost like I don't want to say it's a like a drug. It's just something I need. Like it's something
It's
like
magic. The word I
it's a
use is
fuel.
magic.
It's a
It's
fuel. Like
magic.
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's my phone, right?
So
If I don't plug my phone in at night, you know what happens tomorrow? It doesn't work.
yeah, exactly.
If I don't
Yeah,
eat this morning, I start to get hangry. If I don't spend time with
yeah,
God,
it's
you know,
exactly how I feel. Like if I'm at the
unless,
end of the day and doing it, and it's like, oh man, now I'm like I understand why my day went the way it did because now
yep,
I can read scripture at the first part of my day.
that's right. It really is like magic. When my son was little, because he heard me say this all the time, I would get grumpy and he'd be like, Dad, you need to read your Bible. He's like 4. Like, okay, I'll go do that.
He's
Yeah,
got the
I
right
mean,
idea.
my kids, same thing. Like they're getting to the point now, like they start waking up like around when I'm finishing up, and they'll come out and come around the corner and peek their heads around and look at the table where I sit, and they see me, and then they come run over, and they know, like I think it's a beautiful thing when your kids start to recognize a habit that you create, and the habit is like getting time with the creator. Like you couldn't pay for a better example to be given to your kids.
Exactly.
Exactly. I would agree 100%. It's pretty crazy. Hey, welcome, Nicholas. Good to have you.
Thank you, my friend. Great to be on.
What's up, Nicholas? How are you, man? Good to see you.
Not bad, Adam. I'll show my face for a second.
Oh, what's up, man? Good to
How's it
see
going?
you.
Good to see you. Sadly, I've got a meeting at 12:30, so I'll have to drop. But one thing I couldn't find on the portal, where do you find the recordings of these meetings?
Oh, if you go to the group stream and
Yep.
then, well, one, you should have an email somewhere with them. Then if
Okay.
you go down, it should be, I think I posted them out here too. Well,
Okay.
maybe I didn't. I'll do that today. I thought for sure I posted them both, but oh, here's one of them, I think. Let me make sure. So if you look
We'll
on the
make
stream, no, that's the PDF. I thought I
we'll make
posted
sure
them.
that they're posted on there.
No,
All right,
I
cool.
probably just emailed them. I'll go ahead and post them back on there.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problems. Stop. Hey, how about you, Casey? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm working right now, so I'm driving to the next job. But
I figured.
I have noticed too, starting scripture reading every day in the morning kind of sets the pace for my day, and it's really helped me. I've stayed consistent with reading every day. The days that I don't read until later, um, I find I have a little bit more struggle with just how I approach the day.
Yep.
But this group and this whole accountability stuff has really kept me making sure I'm doing it every day, and
Yeah.
I need to get better at it for sure in certain areas. But
That's why it's called
overall,
practice.
right, absolutely. I'd like to start. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't. I can't. I'll read and I'll. It makes me think about a lot of things, and it's hard for me to express that, like within the group, like on our men's group chat.
Sure.
I'd like to get better at that.
Sure.
Or sometimes I'll read and then I'll start to feel that message later. It'll speak to me differently later as I kind of go through it in my head. But
Yep.
it's been this has been huge for me and my family, and just the stresses of life and everything else that was kind of coming apart. It's really starting to tighten everything back up, and that's been good. So
That's awesome. Hey, I wanted to tell
yeah.
you guys, so in case you need to drop before we go, next steps, if you want to do it, I've been trying to figure out what to do, right? So I thought, well, if you guys want to repeat it for another time, I'll send everybody that's on it, I'm going to send an email and an invite to do another 30 days. We would start on the 1st and go through the 30th of next month. So it would start on Sunday. But one of the questions I had, if you're interested, same price, $49. If you sign up for free, well, we'll figure that out. I might just give it to you free again, probably. Uh, and then there were a couple guys that were out of work like for a year. I'm like, I'm not gonna charge for that. So you just come. And
Yep.
then there's another thing, 2 more things we're gonna do. We're gonna do that for another month. So if you guys want to do that, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to sign up for it. But if you want to keep doing it, we're gonna keep the signal groups open, right? So that's gonna be free. But if you want to have the metric and have it ask you and do all those things and kind of chase each other, which I actually have enjoyed too. I'm like, oh, I'm behind. I
I
should
love
read
it.
14 chapters today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send that out. So if you guys want to do that, if I get 2 people signed up, then I'll do it again. Then not this month, but the next month, one of my disciples who is tired of men coming to him and asking him how to be a man, not just a Christian, a godly man, but how to be a real man. How do you live in character? How do you love your wife on top of your walk with Christ? If you're doing that, then how do you start doing that, right? How do you have great sex with your wife? How do you treat your wife like she's a princess? All those kind of things. He's starting a tribe next, probably in the next 3 weeks. It's going to be same price, probably $49. So we're going to run these cooperatively. And then once our challenge is done, I'm going to start. This is off of a program called School. So it's a training program, right? And then I'm going to do another one just for spiritual development. If you want to grow, hop in and we're going to do that. And we're going to run those side by side and try to really help people. 2 tiers. My expertise is making disciples. His is he's a pararescueman who turned his life to Christ and just started running like crazy. So he is a man's man, right? Kind of like Adam. So if you're interested in those things, you can keep your eyes open. No pressure on any of this, but any
Yeah,
thoughts on any?
we just like to bring it here and dump it so that y'all know what we're planning on.
And this is what we're probably going to call
Our
this is
version.
our first look. This might be what we're going to call our school. And it's going to be open enrollment. And then, we'll see what happens. And then eventually in the next 6 months, we really do hope to run a course out here for a 3-day intensive to get to know people face to face, because you can't make disciples unless you meet people. So
Yep.
just let you know some things that are coming up. Any thoughts?
I'm definitely in.
I think that sounds
I-
awesome. I think that sounds awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, the go back
Casey, bring your brother. You said you wanted to. You should make him
Yep,
come.
I do. I've already talked to him about it, and I think he'd be interested as well. So
Yeah,
I'll speak to him more about that too. And I know I would be in, and I'm definitely sure he would be in. And he lives in Gulf Breeze, so he's not
super.
far.
That's great.
man, that's awesome.
Dude, you
Yeah,
should tell him if he'll come to Fort Walton, I'd meet him.
Yeah, I think he would. He's a U.S. Fish and Wildlife officer, and he oversees Edgeland Air Force Base.
Oh, dude, yeah, we
with
should meet, get some
conservation
coffee.
program. So
It'd be
Yeah.
great to
What's
meet
his
him. I
name?
love meeting people. It's super cool. Plus, I have a Bible. If he's ever interested, I have a Bible study Wednesday mornings over in Fort Walton.
Okay.
I know it's
Okay.
a long drive from Gulf Breeze, but I've had guys drive over to meet me. I had a guy who get up at 3 a.m, drive from Gulf Breeze, meet me at 5:30, and then drive back for work.
Yeah,
Crazy,
that's
but
awesome.
he is
I
doing
definitely
great.
think he'd be interested. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
I'll
Yeah,
talk to him
connect
about
us.
it.
If you talk
For
to him
sure.
and he's interested, 3-way text us and just say, "Hey, this is Bill. Bill, this is my brother." Blah blah blah.
Okay, for
And
sure, I can do
if
that.
any of you guys ever come back, bring somebody with you who can be your battle buddy. And if you could find somebody local, I'm not kidding. If you can find one person local, it's like going. My assumption is getting people to walk with God is like going to the gym. Oh, please come on, go to the gym with me. It's so hard. I hate going. Please just go. I'll pay your fee if you'll go with me, just to get you to go. Because we'll do for others what we will never do for ourselves.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, since you guys showed up too, one other question. If we did, I was thinking about meeting once a week for 30 minutes instead of 3 times for an hour. Is there a time that would be best? I know this lunch is hard, but we couldn't figure out a better time, but I wanted to see if there's any better time that you guys thought, well, I could probably carve out time if I did that.
For me, honestly, I think there's never a great time, but if we could do it earlier in the morning, because usually I can schedule around that. But I'd be willing to do like everything starting at 8, 7, 8, whatever you guys want.
Where are you at, Nicholas?
I'm in Miami.
Okay. I was just in Miami a little while ago. We go down once or twice a year. But Miami's big, so we were in South Beach. But
Yeah, but that's not too far from where I live and work. So
cool.
Well,
next
and
time, let me
I
know.
had kind of thought maybe 8 o'clock on Sunday night or 7 o'clock on Sunday night.
Yeah, weekends would be great for me. I work usually during the week, and
Yep.
then like 12. So like 12 to 1 is great for me as well. But like if we could do it on the weekends to help other people out that can't make the 12 to 1, I'd be down.
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible. My schedule always changes. I'm on a swing shift as a troubleman in Minnesota here, so I work days, afternoon, and overnight. So I can usually fit it in if I'm at work. So my schedule is pretty open regardless. So whatever
Okay.
works best for everybody else is fine for
Okay,
me.
great. Awesome. Anything that we could have done better?
Look at those metrics.
Yeah, look at those metrics, right? Look, Alan Cochran and Casey Travis cranking it.
Dude.
Top three performers. I was gonna think I was gonna read 14 chapters today, patch you guys, but I didn't because I like to win. But I
No,
chose
Hey,
that's
it's
not to
all
do that.
good. It's all good. I'm
Yeah,
just
great
doing
job, guys.
as much as I can.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good. And I'm glad you feel like it's been helpful for you to grow, not just click off a metric.
yep.
I actually use these. This is from my coaching portal, and I use these a lot for myself. Like I'm trying to stop saying the F word because I've been at CrossFit a long time and working with a lot of whoas, and so I'm really afraid
Yeah.
one of these days I'll be preaching something and go, "Oh, what the F?" I'm like, "Did I say that? Crap, this is not appropriate."
Yeah, that's the military in you for sure.
It is. Well, and I stopped. I stopped for
Yeah.
about 30 years, but then I went back to this stupid CrossFit gym and it's filled with pagans. And I have actually had guys, I'll be working out and I'll have non-Christian and if I don't curse at all, or if I don't say strong language at all, they'll like quit working out with me. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Are you serious? Don't do that. That's not nice. Come on. If I beat you today, you have to come to Bible study. How about that? I don't care who you're sleeping with. Bro, don't do that. And it's funny, you drop one strong word and they're like, oh, okay, you're not weird. And I
I
think
know.
right.
Mhm.
And I
It's
think it's
true.
because a lot of men get judged outside the church because they curse. Don't curse around me. I'm like, Jesus didn't do that. He didn't walk around going, hey, don't say hard language around me. He's like, wow, you're a prostitute. How's that going? Is that working out for you? I don't think that's working out. You had a thought, Adam?
Yeah.
No, I just remembered that when I was still in, and especially in special operations, like, the F word is just like interchangeable with any
Normal. Any word,
word,
Oh yeah.
noun, verb,
and it doesn't even
adjective.
have to make sense. It's
No,
just,
no, whatever.
and so, but that's, yeah. Then you grow up, and then you got kids around, and then
Yeah. Then you gotta
then,
start watching your language
That's
and
yeah,
right.
and then, and I also, it's like the deeper that you get in scripture in your walk with God, like things that you used to do just start to feel icky. Like I got to be honest with you, like through this challenge during the last 30 days, I've had a real big conviction on the music that I listen to. And it's funny because I flip for all this whole month, I didn't listen to very much secular music at all, especially not any rap. And the other day I turned it on in my truck because I was like by myself and I turned it on and I'm like,
Wow.
it
That says a
wasn't
lot of F words.
you
but
start
I was,
listening to the lyrics and you're like, oh man, what was I
yeah, and I
listening
just
to?
it's the same. It was the same reaction when I got out and I started hearing my buddies still talk the way that I used to talk with all the F in this, and I just started feeling like, if somebody didn't know me and they walked past me and they heard me talking, they probably have like a real bad misconception of like who I actually am, and then that matters. So,
Well,
uh
and one of my convictions after I went to the gym was I had to wrestle through some of this, right? Because I hadn't cursed or used strong language for a long time. And one of the things I realized, it says, don't, whereas in my first test says, don't, um, you know, it doesn't say curse. It says, don't use strong language, but be worried about the building up of the hearer, right? So the context for me, it's like going to the gym, right? Like if I go to CrossFit, I can take my shirt off, baby. We're good, right? If I go to the beach, I can take my shirt off. If I go to Gold's Gym, I can't. I'm not allowed. I have to have at least string bikini on, as a man. I have to have something on my upper body, So I think it's context. And what I tend to do is I match. So when I'm around guys who are talking like that, then I'll make sure I drop something so they know that they're safe. And then I'll just continue to be able because I want them to be built up. I don't want them to be pushed away because they think I'm judging them, and so I'm going to match fun. So, if I'm around women, I almost try to never curse. Actually, I had to apologize to somebody because I was saying that and I was like, hey, I said this. I know that bothers you. Please forgive me. Man, I woke up one morning and God's like, ding, 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 you need to go apologize. I don't want to do that. She'll understand. She's like, nope, go do it. She's like, you're forgiven. I'm sorry. Thanks. Won't do that again, probably. Because I wouldn't do it to my wife. So then why would I do it to somebody else? But I have been shocked as a coach how many women, even Christian women, are like F-bombing stuff all over the place. And wow, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, that's like that's not a hill that I'm gonna die on, like how people talk. But I do think it's important to the people that I'm comfortable with and that know me, then, you know, Bill, like at the coffee shop, like we let it flow pretty well. You know what I mean? Like we're dudes and we love each other and we know who we are. But to somebody who doesn't like know me, I think
Of
it's
course.
important that if my main message is to spread the gospel, then I want to do it in a tactful way that pulls as many people as possible in. And you know, I think it's like it's a fine line between being somebody that you're not and also being somebody that you want to be and that you want to respect. And uh if you feel like you shouldn't be doing something, then that's just the conviction. That's the Holy Spirit. So it's in my experience, it's been worthy enough to listen to and be like, all right, I gotta figure this out.
Yeah. Well, I
Maybe
want to be in control, right?
yeah,
I want to be control my language. I don't want my language being control of me. That was one of mine. I'm like, yeah, I'm saying this more than I probably need to. I probably need to
yeah,
stop.
exactly. You want
I
it to
need to
be
have better control. I want to
yeah.
make sure that I'm in charge, dropping what I want, not just like
Well,
the,
it's gotta
oh, did
serve
that
you,
come
right,
out?
Bill?
What's
you,
that?
you you talk about this a lot, you know, like with money and that even
Yeah,
with
everything.
it's got to serve you, not you
Yep.
serve it. So that if
Exactly.
you want, you know, guys, like we're all dudes here. Like if I walk into a room full of pipe hitters, like guys I know that have done what I've done, then we're gonna have a different conversation about maybe how God's worked in my life because I need to get their attention. And I would have that conversation differently than I would with, you know, maybe a college student from Seattle, Washington, that is, you know, whatever. Like we would just have a different conversation. And I think that's important.
Just as something that happened when I first went to the gym, I went to help this owner whose name's Jordan, who is actually running this Uncommon Tried now, right? First Bible study we ever did. I had him read John and we sit down to read John. I was like, well, hey, did you read it? He's like, well, F and A, of course I read it. I'm like, wow, what'd you think? Well, F and Jesus is effing awesome, and F and this is amazing. And this Bible is effing, I'm shocked because it's effing awesome, bro. I cannot effing believe how I'm like, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I never had this conversation before. Thank good observations. You know, and I'll tell that story sometimes, and he'll occasionally go, that was me, right? Like, yeah, that was you 100%. You
But
know,
you know what? Like that's actually a perfect example of like if Jordan and I sat down, we might talk about our walk with Christ that way. And who's just like, and like you got
who
to
cares?
decipher, you know, like is Jesus sitting there with us going like, oh my gosh, you guys, or is he like, all right, like
Whatevs. Yeah, you knuckleheads.
you guys are figuring it
Let's
out.
go. That's
You
right.
know, I mean, it's funny because we just put God in such a box and like he created all of this. So like
He
of course
is.
he knows we're gonna use it. You know, it's just
It is what it is. Well, and
it is.
again, right? It's the focus is on them, not me. It's
Yeah.
on kingdom, not on what I need or what makes me comfortable. I have learned ministry, if I'm going to make disciples, I'm going to be uncomfortable a lot. I'm doing cold
Yep.
plunges. Is that stupid or what? I mean, that's what you do, you know. I walked on fire because Jordan's like, hey, let's go to UPW with whatever, Tony Robbins. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. He's like, hey, you know, that's the one where you walk on fire. I'm like, are you serious? Really? I don't want to do that. He's like, what are you going to do? This is early on. He's known me about 2 years, 3 years, maybe. I was like, what I always do when I'm afraid, I'm going to go, and then we'll walk across the fire. I don't know what else you got. Everybody else is doing it. Of course, I'm going to do this. And I did. And it was just like that. It's like, oh, this is scary. And you walk across, you're like, well, that was weird. My feet aren't burnt off. Weird. Super
But
weird.
that's the oh, that's what we're supposed to do. So we've got if we're gonna stay in our comfy spot, then what is it like the Israelites that stayed that they never actually went in? They
Yeah.
stayed and they were
They
comfy.
stayed comfortable.
And we can do that. Like I was pretty comfortable before I started all this and before we did all this. But um that's not like that's not the way this works. And the more you read scripture, it's very clear what God is telling us through all this. And it's to go and create players. We want guys that are going to get on the field. I sat in the stands for so long and watched the game played. And I'm like, I could play that. I'm good enough to be out there. And then finally it's just like F it. You know, I'm gonna go out there and play. And then you just figure it out. And I think I think it's cool that we're all still here. Like, right? It's the third call. Here's the dudes that are here. Here's the bros that are with us. And it's a numbers game. You know, you get 50 people to sign up and 2 people go and become disciples. That's a big win.
That's a win.
Big win.
Jesus started with hundreds and he went to 12. We're good.
What's the thing you always say, Bill? He talked to the masses.
Talk to the preach to the masses. He helped many, discipled a few, and had a 3 inner core. And those 12 men went and flipped the world upside down because he made copies. Actually, you think about it, it's what we've done, right? So you have, Adam is preaching to hundreds of, what's your number now? 70-some thousand?
Yeah, something
Any
like
idea? So let's say it's 80,000 people. Out of that, 13 or 1400 have signed up to be on the Signal group. Out of that, 22 signed up to come actually put some money where their mouth is. And out of that, we got 3 here, but we've had 16, I think, have done a pretty good job on the metric, and we have 4 or 5 who haven't. And I've texted them, I emailed them a couple of times. Hey, you doing all right? Anything we can do to help? Sometimes the money is enough to get you to do it, and sometimes it's not.
And you can't push a rope, right?
And you can't
guys
push a rope.
Here, like, Casey, dude, you're driving to another job and you're obviously pulled over now to do this. Like, that's the kind of commitment that it takes, though. Like, that's just what it takes to live this life. Like, people, they want the smoke, and then you give it to them, and then they're like, ooh, it's like a lot, dude. Like, I understand, but I live in abundance now, and I want that for other dudes. And abundance looks differently, guys. Like, I want you guys to be clear. Like, my abundance and Bill's abundance is totally different, but we both have abundance.
It's because mine's longer. I've been working harder. Longer.
Yours is way longer, but I'm talking about
Adam,
like in
Stalto, strength takes a lifetime to obtain.
There you go. I want to tell you, Adam, man, I found your page, and it's just like every post that you made, and I'm sure it's for other guys too, but I started going through all your messages and the way that you relate life and what you went through and how you came out of it. And it was just like, everything was just talking to me. Like it found me at a point where I needed to get back into faith, and I needed to find a different way. And too many things were stressing me out. Too many things were getting to me, working a lot of hours, just losing the connection with my wife. And I want you to know that what I found in your page pushed me to get to this point. And at this point, I don't ever want to let it go. Like I need to get better and mature in my faith. It's a long process. I understand that, but it was everything that I was watching you do and put on your stuff was just really talking to me, and it helped me a ton. And then I found other guys at work that are also into their faith that I didn't know before, and that's been huge. And that's where because saying the F word and cussing and stuff, it's easier when I work with those guys where that language isn't part of everything. Yep. But it's funny how many doors have opened. My wife started reading scripture. We got back into
that is fantastic.
Dude, it's been really good. And then talking to my brother about it, he's been pushing me for all this stuff too. And then I turned some other guys onto your page, and I talked about this men's group with some guys. So there may be a couple guys that I can bring over if this continues. But I just wanted to say that it's been huge for me.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's a new thing to hear so many dudes like thank me for something when I was like a shitbag, you know what I mean? So like for a long, long time, I carried that anchor around with me. So to hear people say thank you to me, it's a beautiful thing. So I want to accept that blessing. And now the thing for you, Casey, is go be a light for those dudes. Like anybody can do what I did. And I don't even know really what I did. I think one day I just posted something because I was tired of like the rat race of like trying to get people to listen to me with like fitness stuff, because that was like a passion. And then it like hit me in my heart, like I have another passion, and it's like what God has done in my life. And I just blindly posted something and it took off.
Yeah.
But like any one of us can do that. Like God chose me, and he can choose you just like that, as long as you're ready to receive it. And I think that's the only difference in me. I'll be 40 this year. In like 3 weeks, I'll be 40. So I'm entering the 4th floor. And it took me this long to be prepared for what God had always wanted me to be doing my whole life anyways. So you never know. Like when you start talking, dudes might just start listening, and then you'll find that God has like so much in here, and you'll just dump it out, and you're going to have dudes like, Casey, man, thank you the other day you were talking about that, you know what I mean? Like that'll happen. That'll
Right.
happen.
Right.
Guys are going to start finding you.
Right.
And that's the whole
And that's
point.
happened already. And
See?
it's been huge. And I just turned 41 in June. So I'm at
Nice.
the same level. And then maybe it took this long for all of this to come together. I mean, I've always
Who
lived
cares?
a decent life. I've done bad things, but I haven't like completely strayed off the path. But it was like this was a missing piece, and I finally found out like what the missing piece was, and that's
Yep.
been like everything. And I try to share this with as many people as I can. Like I talk
Bring 'em
about it
on.
with anybody.
You're
It's
on
been
it.
good.
You're
And
on
Bill,
it.
thank you too, man. Bill, you've been huge too. Like your messages and the way that you can speak about things and put things in perspective. Like I don't always even have the words to express like what that's done for me in those moments. Just reading, you know, the way that you interpret scripture and how it's applied to your life. Like it's been fantastic. And I mean, I haven't done the best in every category, but every day I'm continuing to try to do better. And
1% better every day. That's what we're hoping
right.
for. 1%.
Yep.
There's a good analogy with Moses too. God spent 40 years teaching Moses he was nobody. Or I mean, teaching him was somebody. Then he spent 40 years teaching Moses he was a nobody as a shepherd stuck out in the fields. And then he spent 40 years showing Moses he uses nobodies. And he needed both. He needed that warrior training and that prince training so that when he brought these people out, he knew how to lead, how to run an army, how to train men, how to, all those things. But first, God had to make sure you don't kill people when they're angry at you. You don't just like cut them down. You got to learn a new way. So yeah, it's great. It's great. And it's been fun being your battle buddy. It's been good reading your posts and seeing where you're at and growing and just super
And for
encouraging.
Alan, dude's been killing it. Like it's really fulfilling. And I think that's what God means when he says the desires of your heart will change. Like I desired for a long time, like stupid stuff like Jordans and a 69 Boss 429. Not that anybody wouldn't desire that. Who wouldn't?
Oh, why not? No, I wouldn't.
But now like I desire more conversations like this one, Casey. Like I those other things are gonna come and maybe they won't, but maybe they will. But I'm just focused differently, and that honestly happened pretty radically. I mean, Bill, I don't know, 2 years feels like it's an insignificant amount of time, but I guess it's a long time. But it's yeah. This stuff compounds, bro. This is like a Roth IRA, and this interest compounds. You get into the word, it'll compound the rest of your life.
If you think about this, like
analogy.
if you think about it, it's like I think our walk with Christ is kind of like walking the Appalachian Trail, right? Going to take 9 months, no matter what, 18 miles a day, no matter what. That's about what you got to average for almost 9 months. It is the easiest path to get from Georgia to Maine, but that doesn't make it an easy path. It's the easiest path in a very hard place. If you get off the path, you'll never make it. It'll take you years to make it to Maine. Stay on the path, work hard, 18 months, unload everything you don't freaking need. You can tell along the trail the first 5 or 6 miles is a bunch of crap that people are like, I'm not carrying that. I'm not carrying that. I actually don't need that electric razor. And I don't even know if I need a toothbrush, right? Because who cares? And so that's our Christian walk, right? Initially, you're trying to get rid of junk that you've been carrying, you don't need to carry. Then it's kind of getting used to 18 miles a day. If you guys haven't humped 18 miles a day with 60 pounds on your back, bro, that's
a
legit.
lot.
That is a lot. And you do that every day for 9 months. And so your body has to get used to it. But once you get used to it, man, this is normal. This is what it is. Just, and you have an end goal. So the run is not that hard. And if you want to make it that much easier, take somebody with you. You'll never stop if you take somebody with you, unless they break a leg or something. So that's why we wanted to get people in groups. I'll probably actually increase the group from 2 to maybe 6 or 4 or something for our groups this next time, if we have enough people. So
yeah,
at least 3.
Hey, the one thing I did want to mention to you guys is, and I think Adam and Bill have said it before, the beauty of all of this too, like when we're talking about discipling and how God can use us, I think the thing we overlook is often, at least for me, what I overlook is I think it's me that has to do something. And I feel like it's God supernaturally working in our lives where all of a sudden we have all the, like you guys have said it, right? Our interests and our passions have changed, and our desires have changed, and all of a sudden our ability to speak to people changes, and it's God providing. He just wants us to show up, right? And how many figures or characters in the Bible it happened to where they're like, oh, I can't speak, God, or I'm not good enough, or I stutter, or this, or I can't do it, I'm too weak, I'm too small. And it's just like, nope, trust me, you don't have to worry about anything. I've got it, right?
We got this. We got this.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's always cooperative, right? God's wanting to expand the kingdom into the world, which means part of that is transforming you so you can transform others. But he's waiting. And it's kind of like your wife, right? You could go and force her to have sex with you if you wanted to, but that one doesn't work out very well. And she's gonna feel like she's getting raped, right? But if I could convince her that she's the best thing since sliced bread and give her her needs, then she's gonna be like, bro, you're pretty sexy, Bill. Hey, let's go do this thing, right? And she's never going to have the desire I have. Got it. But she will at least be like, hey, if you need that, well, okay, you're giving me what I want. I'll give you what you want. Right. And that's the key, is not taking from our relationships, but giving. And when you're walking with God and doing the basic things you need to do, God's spirit shows up and explodes your life.
And
I saw this thing the other day and I posted about it, but it was like, if you knew you were going to die at the end of the day, what would you do? Who would you see? What money would you want to spend? What kind of experience would you want to have? And I think about that. I'm like, ooh, I'd want to, at first glance, I'm like, ooh, I'd want to see my family. I'd want to do this. And Jesus knew, and he washed feet.
Correct.
And that's where I really think a lot about Mark 10:45 and how the creator of the universe came here, met us, and then served us. It wasn't the other way around. And God knows he could have come here and just obliterated everything and stood and ruled over us. And instead he met us here and he hung on a cross for us. But right before he died, he served again. And I just have to remind myself that all the neuroscience stuff I'm listening to that's like not spiritually related or Christian based or anything, like all that stuff, I'm starting to understand that there's a tie-in. And it's literally, if I can get my brain to focus on how I can be of service of other people and solve other people's problems and help my wife heal and help my kids grow, and if I can just stay in that mindset, then all the things that I really want, they'll fall into your lap. And I'm already experiencing that now. Like speaking engagements I never would have otherwise been looked at for.
I would never do what we're doing. I would never think this up.
Yeah.
Why would someone ever do that? That sounds terrible. That sounds like a dumb idea. Why would I do that? If you'd have told me a year, even 3 months ago, that I'd be doing this, I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. That's stupid. That's retarded.
Right. And here we are. And there's guys, like lives are changing, man. Like that's the whole goal of this is and just to that point though, seriously, Nicholas, my two big takeaways in my walk with Jesus have so far been, one, stay in the word every day, period, no matter what. Like I had an addiction to pornography that was terrible. And I'm over a year sober from that. And that's literally, that's awesome. And it's like, I don't even have the desire anymore because I'm in the word. So that, and then service, like my restoration with my wife has come on the back of me serving my wife's needs. And that doesn't, I want to be clear, that doesn't mean like I sweep the floor behind her as she's walking around. It's not like it's not catering, it's serving and
respect.
Like would I make would I go buy a boat without my wife knowing about it? 2 years ago, yes. Today, no. That's serving my wife, right? That's what it means contextually. I put her needs above mine, not all the time, guys. Like we're dudes, like we're gonna, for lack of a better term, we're gonna fuck it up. Like whatever.
But 1% better every day.
1% better every day, man. I
34 know 4 years in, I guarantee it's worth it. Tell you what, guarantee it's worth it.
I know that like this never would have happened. I jack up and 2 seconds later, I pull my wife into a room and I say, honey, that was inexcusable. That's not who I am. And
I was wrong.
I was wrong. And
I
it's
was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Please forgive me.
Yep, and we're holding short accounts, guys, and we're moving forward because life and marriage and work and job, kids, and it's all stressful. And when you start working together instead of against, man, life is just like it's easier. It's not easy, it's just easier. And that's the big difference. Like people who don't follow Jesus, they think, oh man, you're a Jesus guy, like your life's got to be like, oh, like no, I mean, that's not what that means. I mean,
I feel like when you pour into like when you pour into your family's cup or anybody else's cup, your friends, God will fill your cup
for sure.
regardless. Like he's going to, I mean, like no matter how full your cup is, if you keep pouring into other people, your cup will be filled regardless.
Yeah, 100%. When, Jesus would say, I think this is what he means. Most people, even pastors, they'll go to seminary and they'll get a full cup of water and they'll come and be a pastor. And after 2 or 3 years, because what they're doing is sermon prep, usually they're not having time on their own. They're pouring out and pouring out and pouring out and pouring out, and then they're empty. Jesus, on the other hand, in John says, come to me. And if you come to me, you'll have a well of living water that will well up in you. So the way you do ministry, the way you help other people is you fill your cup up until it flows out. Think about your wife. If kindness, love, and mercy are filling up your life, and you start treating your wife with kindness, love, and mercy, respect, if you treat your wife the way you want to be treated, it won't take long. She'll start treating you correctly. And I would say, assuming she's a girl and you treat her the way she wants to be treated as a girl, not as a guy, because she's not a guy with a vagina. And once you figure that out, things are night and day difference, right? My wife wants me to talk to her for about an hour every day, face to face. I don't prefer to do that. It's not my preference. But if you give me sex every day, I'll talk to you every day. So what I learned early on was, you guys laugh because this is true. There's nothing private in my life. I just don't care. Just don't post this to the internet, right? We're not posting it. On the internet. Early on, I figured out, hey, babe, I really early guy, young guy. After a couple of years, I kind of would like to have sex every day. Well, I don't want to do that. Okay, and she would tell me, but I really want to talk to you every day. I'm like, I kind of don't want to do that. So now we're at an impasse. What's reasonable? How about this? We have sex 3 times a week, and I'll talk to you every day, face to face, and you get my attention. Okay, great deal. And we did that, and that's worked well over the long haul, because one of the added benefits that it helped was that she asked me early on, hey, if you touch me and try and have sex, I'm like, well, that's a loaded question. I'm not touching you, so I'll have sex. But if you would let me, we would, because I'm not the one holding us back. And so
And
that
that's
communicated to her, oh, you always want sex. And it wasn't. But when we stopped having sex every single day, like if we had sex Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, then she knows Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. If I touch her, she's not like, why are you touching me? And why are you touching my breast? And why are you, well, because I'm not supposed to touch anybody else's breasts. Because, so,
and
but
that's
she knew I wasn't
transferable.
going to have sex with her.
That's transferable among all, like a lot of different topics, right? I mean, like that's
100%.
a big one for dudes, because that's something that like we get hung up on it, like whether we want to admit it or not. Like that's probably the first thing we're going to talk
Number one
about.
complaint in marriage.
But like,
For men, not women.
It's anything though. It's really anything, and it just falls back in line of like, we're not here for us. We're not. And if we figure that out early, man, life is probably amazing for a lot longer. I figured out at basically 40, like I'm not here for me. This isn't about me. I can still have things that I want because God in his kindness will probably just give them to me, but I've got to be spiritually prepared for them. Those are that's like the big thing, because and I'm not trying to be pretentious, but my wife's business took off, and with this financial success, if I still were the person that I was, I'd ruin us. If even greater, I'd be making bigger decisions with the swipe of a credit card that were easier to, you know what I mean? So it's things change for you when you realize that we're not here for us. We're not here for us. It's not about me. It's on me. And I'm trying to live my life like that. And I think that's a good starting point. We're not here for us.
Do you guys have any questions as you're walking, as you've been reading and studying?
Yeah, what scriptures are you guys in too? Like, where are you guys reading?
I've been in Proverbs and Psalms mostly. Here
Great.
and there, I'll drop into like we did a sermon at church on Ecclesiastes, and
Great book. Great book.
yeah, the first part of it's just like doom and gloom, and like I started reading the first part of it because I was like, I
It's
just want to see what it's about, you
it's
know? I
not
just want to
doom and
see.
gloom. This is
Yeah,
exactly how life is. I agree
exactly. It
100%.
is,
Oh
and
my
then like
God.
at the end, you realize like, okay, he has a point. He has but yeah, I mean, I feel like Proverbs and Psalms have really helped
Good.
just in guidance and wisdom.
Yep.
Because even
Wisdom and
before
connection.
this, yeah, before this, I was in I read all of John,
Mhm.
and that was just pretty much for me to refamiliarize myself with Jesus' walk.
Sure.
And then I plan to kind of move on. I'm like, I'm still gonna read Psalms every day, but at the
Mhm.
same time I'm gonna start somewhere else. Maybe Job, or because my wife keeps telling me I need to read Job. And
Well,
Oh, Job is
if you're going through
fantastic.
hard times, Job's a good book.
yeah, well that is right now, like I cried out to Adam not long ago, and I was like, hey man, I was like, man, I'm just going through a real tough time, need some prayer. And he's like, you're going through a growing season, man. I'm like, I guess you're right. I'm in the refiner's fire right now. So I'm just,
I,
trying my best. Like when Adam was saying, like, if I was, younger when I got all this success, I would have like ruined it. But now, like, he's 40 and he's like, okay, we got the success. I know what to do with it because I've been disciplined. And I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm just getting that discipline, I guess, by beating. I don't know.
But
But
if
I
you
guess we'll
get it,
see.
if you
Yeah.
get it, right, you learn it and you
Yeah.
download the Holy Spirit in you, and now you're walking in lockstep for 2 years. Every day you're doing what you've been doing the last 30 days. Don't be surprised when something falls in your lap that you're like, where did that come? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Or, and it might even be a slow burn, right? Like 1% better financially every day. Then 2 years later,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, I don't check the account before I go get groceries, which I would do. I would have to do that, like
Yeah.
just simple stuff. Um, this is definitely for me, I think, and I'll die on this hill, man. It's like if you can stay in the scripture every day, no matter where you're at, and that Holy Spirit's downloading in you, man, the act of obedience is rewarded. I believe that.
100%. 100%. Hey, I want to share something with you guys real quick. It's just another look at why we want to read the Bible, right? I'm recording this so we can have it for later too. Is one of the reasons I want to do it. Since you guys are here, it'll be better. I call this a king's quiet time. So I'm a simple dude, right? I need clear instructions, and the Bible is very complex, so it's kind of hard sometimes. So I try to break everything down into very clear, simple instructions that even a nug like me can do. And so this is a king's quiet time. And like always, if you look in history, if there was a great man of God, he spent a lot of time with God. You can read a chapter a day for the rest of your life and you'll grow a little bit. But if you want to really grow a lot, you got to spend more time. If I want to work out, I probably need about an hour in the gym or hour and a half. After that, you have marginal effects after that. But there is a period of about 20 to 30 minutes at least every day. That's good. And the ways you can increase that would be to go to church, go to Bible studies, memorize scripture, read, pray, whatever. Right. So I like this. This is what God told his kings. So before they go into land, God says, don't have kings. But if you have a king, this is what you should do. This is what this king needs to do. First, he needs to love God with all his heart. And this is out of Deuteronomy 17. First, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Being in the Bible allows you to meet God face to face like Moses did. That's what he tells Joshua. If you want to meet me like me, then spend time in my word. That's out of Joshua 1. And that as I was with Moses, so I'll be with you. I'll be face to face, but the way you're going to do that is through the word of God, right? So then he tells the kings this is their instructions in Deuteronomy 17, 18, 19. Write a copy of the first 5 books. So take the first 5 books, and you're supposed to pen and ink with quill and scrolls your own copy. So that's going to take a little while. I mean, you can try that sometime. Write the first 5 books out in your own handwriting, right? Then, after you've written it, ask your spiritual leaders to make sure it's correct so that you haven't made mistakes. Then keep it with you always, every day, everywhere you go. Keep it with you. Read it daily. This is what God says will happen if the kings do that. You'll learn to revere God. It will teach you to follow God carefully. It will keep you humble, and you will have descendants. And Jesus is our example. If you really want to get jacked up, memorize Mark 135, which says, very early in the morning, while it was still early, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus went out to a solitary place where he prayed. So if you're laying in your bed one morning and you think you should get up and read, and you go, you know, God, I'm not going to do that. I don't really feel like it. What you'll hear in your brain is the Spirit will go, well, you know, Bill, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, went out into the dark and prayed. Yeah, but I'm tired. Well, you know, Bill, Jesus, when it was went out very early in the morning, and you'll hear this resonate. I memorized that and it was super helpful. So it took me a while. I'm not great at memorization, but it was good. But I like this because it helps me to understand this is what kings were supposed to do. David did this and he was a great king. Solomon, I bet, slowly moved away from the scripture because he started becoming an idolater. And by the end of his life, God was so frustrated with him, he would have taken the kingdom away from him had he not made a promise to David. So you can't give up. You got to do it for the rest of your life. And if you kind of like, you know, I'm 58 and I'm in decent shape, but I know if I want to stay in shape, 5 hours a week for the next 30 or 40 years, however long I'm alive, 5 hours a week, every week. I get to take a week or two off here or there, but in general, about 40 to 50 hours or 40 to 50 weeks out of the year, I'm going to the gym 5 hours a week. So it's not even an option. That's just what I do. And my spiritual life is like that too. I don't hyper spiritualize my life. Hey, if I spend time in the word, it keeps me out of sin. Okay, enough said. You'll give me generations. You'll teach me to learn to revere you. You'll help me follow you. You'll keep me humble. Okay, enough said. I'm going to stay in the Bible. And I'm going to, by hook or by crook, I'm going to find ways to do it. And we have found the most important ways, like we're seeing with this group. When you have accountability, which is, come on, guys, let's go. Not, why didn't you do that? And we rejoice over what we're doing rather than what we didn't do. Then we will do this thing long haul. We'll be able to run long haul. Any thoughts, questions?
No, that's really good, Bill. I'm gonna definitely take a look at this again and read over it.
And I'll post the video sometime tonight or tomorrow too with it. And I will post all of them back onto the new group. When we join again, if you join again, you're going to join into a new group because I'm going to pull everybody out of this group and put them in the new one. If that makes sense. Cool. Any alibi fires? That's Army for shoot away your bullets that you still have left. Because you never turn anything in, you just shoot them, right? Hey, we got 400 rounds. We're going to shoot those things because we're not. Otherwise, you have to count them and turn them in. Like we're not doing that. If you broke the seal on that thing, we're shooting all of those.
The
remember it.
the new one too, that this course, the school course, ours is going to be really focused on you know, guys that are wanting to like start this and figure this out and then tailor it into our marriages and how we can pour into our wives. I think that's our wheelhouse. That's mine, at least. That's like I try and stick to talking about things that I have like real world experience with, and I'm not gonna like pretend that I have experience with other things that I don't. Um, so I'm looking forward to that though. I think it's gonna be really cool. We are building it though, and you guys are kind of part of the beta launch and test of it. So your feedback is so important because you you get it's great feedback when somebody like looks at what you're doing and they read about it and then they give you feedback, but it's even more valuable when they do what you're talking about and then they come back and be like, hey, I just wanted to know, like, that was really good, or I really needed that, or I didn't take away as much as I thought I would from that. Whatever it might be, you guys are kind of on the front lines with us with this because there's something here, right? There's something there. Like, I'm not going to let go of the fact that what you said, Casey, like that's enough for me,
Yeah.
so that's enough for me to be like, there's if I have to do this once every 30 days and it only affects one dude, Not saying that it did. I know others feel that way, but if that's what it is, then that's what it is. Like, okay,
Small cost.
right. So that means 12 dudes are going to walk away every year of my life and say, like, I'm not the same dude anymore. And in fact, I want to tell you why. And it's because of Jesus. Like, then we are winning. So we just want to keep this up, man. We want to keep it up. And the retreat 100% is going to happen. I feel very called and convicted on that. So if it does, and you guys are a part of it, it'll be really cool because there's going to be a lot of testimony. We are going to do a bunch of hard stuff. We're going to shoot some guns. We're going to team build. And you're going to get a lot of testimony from dudes in this community full of special operators and Delta Force dudes and SEALs and then guys that had no military experience. You would get an immersion of all of those guys and their testimonies. And I think it'd be really powerful. So keep an eye out on that. That stuff's coming, God willing. And I think God's moving. He already has. So
Pretty cool stuff.
but man, I hope you guys are blessed. I hope, we're on the verge of a big holiday weekend. Yeah.
Do
What
something fun with your wife.
Yeah.
Go for a date. Go for
We're
a
going,
walk.
we're doing
Look her
movie
in the
nights
face and talk to her. Tell her you
Sunday,
love her. And
6:30.
she's
I've got to go see a really like terrible chick flick with my wife, but
Good.
I
Well
serve my
done.
wife.
That's
He's
right.
gonna enjoy it. Don't let him fool you.
Right. I'm be
Yeah.
holding her hand. I don't care. Well, it does change, right? Once I figure out, well, if I just treat my wife like she's a princess and that she's the most important thing in the world, she probably will start treating me the same way. And it's hard, right? Because you think I'm working really hard and she's at home with the kids and she's really not working. Okay, you take the kids for a week and see if she's not working.
Yeah, I can tell
Right.
you firsthand that that's a job.
Guarantee. It's a good thing to do. Remind your wife, hey, honey, why don't you take a day and you just go do whatever you want on Saturday? I'll take care of the kids. And one, if she'll let you, because she doesn't trust you to not kill them. Right. But it's a good reminder. Oh my God, I love that you stay home with the kids because this is awesome. I would hate to have to do this. Right. Because if you're not careful, all of us start to think my contribution is more important than my wife or this other person. And both of us feel that way. So you got to really overbalance thinking, man, I am so thankful that you serve us. You're a great mom. You have sex with me. You put up with me. I'm a bonehead. I do stupid stuff and you don't leave. I'm really sorry I do stuff like that. But if you'll help me not be stupid, I'll try to not be stupid, and be honest, because she wants to feel like she's the sexiest thing in the world. And if you don't give that to her, somebody will. One day. Just reality life. Just like you want her to think you're the best thing. You want her to go, hey, big boy, how you doing? Bring some of that over here. Because it makes me feel good when she does that. Not like, what are you looking at?
We
Stop
want to
saying
feel
that.
needed.
That's right. Stop saying that. I don't like it. So great to see you guys.
Yeah. Hey, let's stay up in the chat. Our chats are still always open. And then you guys also have the ability to message us or message me one-on-one through Signal. Signal's the best for my one-on-one messages. Just because I get flooded with everything else. But man, this is just the beginning, guys. This is like just the beginning of what could be something really cool. And we're happy that you're here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you
super
guys. I look forward to the
yeah.
next thing for sure. And the retreat, all that sounds really good. I'm in it. So,
Awesome.
and if I can bring guys along, I will.
Yep.
It'll be
Yeah.
that's it, man.
And invite anybody to the group. We'll probably do a phase 2. And then you should see probably tomorrow. I don't even have it created yet. I was like, been thinking about this for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh shoot, that's tomorrow. I gotta fix that. So I gotta go back and recreate another program so that I can copy it and fix it, but I'm like, so I should have it to you tomorrow, I hope. And you should be able to sign up. And so, but you can
Perfect.
send that link to anybody anywhere. So
Okay.
guys, not girls. No girls. No girls. No.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been intentional with that, not letting women in our group chats and everything, not because I want to turn women away from the gospel,
Nope.
but I feel like, guys, we are not going to express ourselves the same way we would, just the same way you wouldn't go swearing in church. You wouldn't talk about troubles that you're having with a woman on board. And there's women that are doing this too. So I find those women and I kick them off to them. And that's not my expertise. Hell, I can't even figure out the one woman in my house. Why am I going to try and help other women figure it out. Like
Exactly. Well, and
you
if
guys
your
keep doing it.
wives to start to walk and would want something similar, we could probably find somebody to do it.
Yep.
A girl, not a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because we have a
Yep.
lot of women here that are training. Our assumption is if we lead in our home, our wives become like us, and they do. It's really simple. The more godly you are, the more godly she'll become because she's going to follow you. She's designed to follow you. And a lot of who she is right now is because she's been following you, your example. You know,
And
Yeah.
that's
What's
happened at
funny,
my house for sure. When I started reading the Bible and just doing that and going to church again, it just like all of a sudden she bought a Bible on Amazon out of
right?
nowhere. Didn't tell me
Yeah,
nothing. And then she
correct.
was just reading it one day. It's wild
It's awesome,
how it
right?
all
real.
how it
That's
all works
awesome,
out.
Casey.
That and serving her too, like everything that I felt like I was missing started to just show up through
Yeah.
her.
Well, and
Just by focusing on her and her needs and being present and just serving her. It's all that stuff is amazing to see.
buy yourself some stickies and write out 30 different, hey, I love you. I think you're awesome. And then go hide them all over the house.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I do it a
Yeah.
lot, right? And there's a thing called Shimily, SHMILY. See how much I love you. I figured this out. Somebody showed me this a long time ago. So whenever I would leave on vacations or on trips, my son, I would hide them all over his room. And if I didn't, he'd be like, hey, don't you love me? You didn't do any of that, right? And I
Yeah.
would encourage you, if you really want to know how she would want you to serve her best, how could you find that out?
Ask her.
I
Yeah.
could ask
Talk
her,
to her.
hey, babe, is there any one thing I could do this week that would make you feel really loved? Is there any one thing I'm doing that makes you feel crappy that I could stop? And
What is
if you ask that, don't go, well, let me tell you why that's the right answer is thank you. I appreciate that comment. I will work on that. But you were going to say something, Casey.
Oh, you said Shimily?
Emily,
SHMI.
SHMILY. See how
See how
much
much
I
I love
love
you.
you. Yep.
Okay.
Simple. And then just hide them everywhere. Hide them in her underwear, in her socks, in her nightgowns, if she has those, in the kitchen, put one on the mirror before you walk out the door,
Yep.
I'm gonna do that.
Stuff works.
simple things. And dry erase
Yeah.
markers, you can mark on everything and it wipes off, hey, I love you. I text
I
my
haven't
wife.
hit a whole lot, but I have wrote her a note, and I noticed the other day I was cleaning her car out just because I'm very clean. I like things organized, so usually it might be something I'd get on her about, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna surprise her. And I left her a note in the car before she went to work, and now I notice it's in her visor. She keeps it in her car with her.
Of course she does,
So
because
that's
it's
pretty
So
cool.
meaningful.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, Casey. Great
Now
job.
you
Well
know
done,
how
brother.
much that meant to her.
Right.
Now you
Yeah.
know, like
Right.
that's the good stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
it
kind
doesn't
of
cost much. You just got to
no.
think about it.
No. Right. Right.
People think they need to take their wives out to fancy dinners and money they don't care. They literally could
No.
care less. As long as there's food on the table and the lights are on, they don't
Yep.
care. They want your relationship. That's why they married you, because of all that beautiful sexiness that you are. I'm
Honestly,
serious, right?
that note
Right.
note to her is probably more romantic than a 5-star dinner. You know what I mean? Because it's
Right.
just
Think about
more,
it.
it's
Yeah.
just raw, and there's something really authentic about a note.
Right.
A handwritten note, and my wife has handwritten notes all over the house that she's kept, that I see everywhere, that I know she cherishes that stuff, because women are different than men. Like men, like I get a note, I'm like, cool, throw it
Birthday
away,
card.
move
My
on.
birthday
Like, if it's
card
like in
this
the
year, right?
phones,
It's right
there you
here.
go. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
gave, and I was like, oh, I'm keeping that. And I don't even keep cards. I throw them in the trash after I read them.
Right.
I'm
Same,
keeping this one.
same.
Anyway, great to see you guys.
Yeah.
Hey,
You guys too.
if you ever need anything, always hit us up. And if you're really in an emergency, you can always text or call me on my real phone if you need to. If you don't have it, just ask me for it. I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
Because
same.
we want to help people. And as much as we can. That my goal in life is to serve always.
Yep. And I'm
On
moving into
1045.
that space. Like I'm new into that space, and it's a struggle still at sometimes. But
Struggle's real.
when I have picked up the phone and gotten on the phone with a guy that messaged me that said I really need to talk to somebody, it's turned out to be a bigger blessing to me. I get off the phone and something amazing in my life happens that I've been pining after or wanting, or a decision, and it's like, and I know that that's God saying, that is the reward for obedience, brother. Like you obey me, I'll give you the desires of your heart, man. And it's like Casey, Allen, you guys are on the front end of this. Like, just wait, man. Like, it's so good, dude. And it's being good and being great and having it doesn't mean that it's perfect. It just means that there's just like a simplicity in your life that comes from like, hey, I know that like I just love the Lord and I love my wife and kids, and like, I don't know, the rest I'll figure out.
It's finding that joy.
For sure.
Fact. That's a fact.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome. Great to see you
Well,
guys.
thank you guys. Yep,
Yeah.
great to see you guys too.
Appreciate y'all so much.
Yep.
Yep,
Hey,
for
let
sure.
me pray us out real quick. I'll pray us out of here real quick. Then you guys go on. Guys, Father, I love you. Oh my goodness. I'm so humbled that I get to talk to the creator of the universe. I can just close my eyes and lock in on you. I know you're here. We can feel it. Your presence is all around us. You're everywhere at the same time. So we're so grateful. God, I just pray for Alan and Casey and Nicholas and Bill and myself. I just pray that you would infuse us with the Spirit. You'd infuse us with the feeling of service and the attitude of service. We love you. We praise you. Keep everybody safe as they're driving and traveling and going about their day and their weekend. We love you. We honor you. And if there's anything that's